There you have it. Oh, 1 second.
Halløj! Kender du Pluto? En streamingtjeneste, der er helt gratis. Pluto TV er så let som 1, 2, 3. 1. Søg efter Pluto TV på din mobil eller dit smart TV. 2. Tryk på download-knappen. 3.
There you have it. Alright, should be live with this one now. Just getting the live up here. 1 second. And post. Yeah. There we go. All right. 1 second. We are live. I'm gonna turn this down real quick. This is loud and a lot of noise coming out from that area. That 2-minute video there. Okay. There we have it. All right, we are live here. We're ready. Hope so. No lagging. Hopefully. Let's see. We can't do this right. It's off 2 days. So apparently when you go off 2 days, people start unfollowing you because, well, you're not allowed to take off 2 days even though it's your birthday and you have other stuff in your life. Then you're going to lose followers because that makes sense. No, it doesn't matter. Fucking hate the internet. I really hate this fame shit. Or not, I'm not famous, right? I hate the idea of it all. So I'm really just trying to do it because, yeah, it doesn't matter. Israel sets up flag. Here we have it. So the Israelis are in an area that I'd call the protective area, the great area. So they are here. They're at the coast, and I told you they're gonna be there. I pretty much told you exactly what's gonna happen throughout this war. So if you listen very carefully, you'd know exactly what was about to happen. And I tell you what, we'll show this video here, but I will start off by showing you something first, if it wants to load. Here you have it. So what I showed you first. Just gonna need the map to load in here. Give it a second. I'm streaming doing this, so just take a little bit of space. So I did say I thought they were gonna meet in the middle. It does appear that they are meeting in the middle. Now this is sand right here, and there's sand here and no sand over here except if you're up here, but I don't think they'd put a flag up there, so I am very confident that they put a flag somewhere along this coast right here. As you can see, there's nothing really landmarkable that you can see. You can't really see that harbor anywhere near, so it's probably somewhere where there's not a lot of stuff happening. I guess somewhere along where the entrance to the city is, so somewhere along this strip right here. I'd imagine that's where they are. I did say that we're going to probably try and meet in the middle, trying to cut them off. The only area in where Hamas has control, or not has control, but has the ability to go out now is through the sea here. But as soon as the IDF cuts that off, that's going to be an impossible task for them. You see right here, Hamas has lost control. They're not controlling it anymore, and, well, you can see it right here for you. Wicked Wham. And like a slow. Sorry, I'm just playing my video on here. I just want to make sure there's no lagging. This looks pretty good. Richie, welcome in. The laptop gave out. Here to wait for a new one to arrive today. All right, fair enough. Good news. Good news. So, this is Israel setting up a flag along the coast of Gaza. Now, if you remember before, I did tell you, didn't I say they were going to try and meet in the middle? They were going to try and get to the coast, try and cut them off. I told you what was going to happen. Now, I'm going to show you this again here because I love how accurate I was. I love how accurate I really was towards everything. Look at it. They're meeting in the middle. I told you it was going to happen. I said they're probably going to take one of these roads here. That was the plan. I said it before they announced it. I said they're probably going to cut them off, and that happened. You know, and then I said they're probably going to move from this area down to the middle where they're going to meet with these guys, which is going to move up, which I believe they've probably done by now. They're taking the harbor. They want to take the harbor out of the Hamas control. They don't really control them anymore. I mean, IDF is probably somewhere very close to here. Hamas has lost control. It's rambling down. So I did say that, and well, you know, so proof to say, if you listen to me, you got to figure out a lot of stuff because I happen to be right 90% of the time. 90%, that's a pretty good score, I'd say. All right, well, Israel forces in Gaza report hearing terrorists underground saying that they're trapped and can't get out. Hamas is still trying to hide underground, but the Israelis have pretty much leveled the infrastructure of their underground tunnels, and, well, they can't get out. Well, they could if they were to surrender. I'm sure the Israelis would gladly dig them out for give them some space to come out. But, well, if you're not surrendering, they're not going to dig you out. You have no other option. But the Hamas seems to think that not giving up is, well, it's a worthy task. So, you know, dying for what I'd effectively call nothing. The idea of what they're doing now is effectively saying we want to die for what is effectively nothing. You know, because when you think about it, what have they done to further the cause of either Palestine or Gaza? They've effectively dying for nothing. I mean, the Japanese, they were like Hamas, you know, this whole surrender thing, you know, they're not going to surrender, you know. But at least they fought for something. I mean, they fought for their homeland, right? You know, I'm not holding with the... No, I'm not in support of the Japanese here. That's not what I'm doing, you know. Well, obviously nowadays we are, but that's a different story. But, you know, at that point when you think about it, at least they fought for something. They're not fighting for anything. Hamas, you could say they're fighting for their homeland, but in reality, it's not their homeland. You don't own the area. So they're fighting so they can endure being tunnel rats, you know? Such a terrible job. Hospital in Gaza say they are running low on basic medical supplies. The Israeli tells us they're allowing medical aid into Gaza. The UN says the aid entering Gaza is insignificant. Well, the aid isn't insignificant. It's just because the actual aid that gets to the people of Gaza, the Palestinian people of Gaza, actually doesn't get there. And many of the people you're going to see here are probably actors. I'm not somebody who goes to the whole, you know, I don't do conspiracy theories, but we know many of them are actors, and they're acting along with what Hamas is doing. However, I won't discount the fact that there is a humanitarian situation that is very grim in Gaza right now, but it is not caused by the fact that we're not giving them humanitarian aid. It is caused by the fact that Hamas is taking that humanitarian aid and trying to get them into those areas in where they have forces still. So that's what's happening right now. But we have 2 minutes here. This is Trey Yingst. He is inside Gaza here, but this is not him filming it, I think this is somebody else, but this is uploaded on, I don't know, Fox or something like that.
Hospitals in Gaza, like the Al-Rantisi, are overflowing with patients.
Might actually be him talking.
Airstrikes and
I think it's him talking, yeah.
Some are on the brink of collapse. We're experiencing a medical disaster. All the medical supplies have run out. All the medicine for cancer patients has run out. The hospital's director, Bakar Daour, explains, we are heading towards a catastrophe. The Israeli military says 665 aid trucks have entered Gaza since the war began over a month ago. On those trucks was food, water, and medical equipment. What do the managers of the hospitals say that they need? We've been talking with medical facilities in Gaza, and they say they're running out of basic supplies to treat wounded patients.
Well, I think that they are also in a very difficult situation because they are trapped between this situation and Hamas. I know that Hamas took over on their fuel supply. I know that Hamas runs basically the way that they are getting the medical supplies.
The United Nations, that coordinates with Israel on aid deliveries, says the aid entering Gaza is not enough to support the more than 2 million Palestinians living there. The Israelis point to Hamas taking resources in the past that were meant for the Gazan people and say that despite the situation, there's no humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
We know, and I can say for sure, there is no humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Of course, the situation is not easy.
I would push back on that, sir. You would say there's no humanitarian crisis in Gaza?
The factor is that he's wrong. There is a humanitarian crisis in Gaza, but what he's trying to say in bad English is the factor that there isn't a significant humanitarian crisis because of the factor that there couldn't be a significant crisis, because he believes that the factor is they've been given enough. The factor is they have. If Hamas wasn't taking the supplies, in fact, of what we've given to them, the UN humanitarian aid that we've been giving to them, the crisis that they're talking about wouldn't be happening. Because the things that we've given, you got to remember, the area they live in, it's not that big. Okay, you don't need much. Well, you need a lot, but that's not a point when I'm trying to make electricity and things like that. You could easily supply Gaza. It's not a big area. And there's a lot of people there, with millions of people there, but there is, the ability to supply that is well within our reach, and we have done that. So I think what my point being is, his belief, and what I think he's saying is that there isn't a humanitarian crisis because he believes that they have delivered a significant amount, and that's a factor. But that's true. But the factor also remains. You got to remember, Hamas keeps taking the supplies. Okay, so those supplies that are supposed to go to these people, they're not going there. So that's But I listen to what he says.
Saying once again, there is no humanitarian crisis in Gaza. I know the situation is not easy, but we are in a war. We didn't pick and choose to enter this war.
I think so. The way he's setting it, it's a bit of a bad English translation, but if you get it, I think he's putting it. I think he's putting it a bit blunt, but he could have easily said that Hamas is taking it and leave it at that. But not every one of these guys are PR trained.
There absolutely is a humanitarian crisis inside Gaza. The challenge, though, Harris, is the fact that the 2 million Palestinian civilians living there are ruled by Hamas, a group that is now fighting a war against Israel from civilian areas.
Now, that's just exactly what Trey Inc. said right there. The factor is that they're ruled by Hamas. Oh, flares up. That's live from Gaza right there. Probably some kind of airstrikes happening. Flares up there as well. But my factor remains the same, okay? That if Hamas wasn't there, when Hamas does get destroyed, and they will, they have lost control in the northern part. And no matter what you say to me, they have lost control. When they are taken out, the supplies that will be given to the people in Gaza will be more significant. And when you hear a lot of these doctors saying, oh, there's a problem, we're going to die. Don't believe that horse shit, okay? Because the factor is half of them are lying to you. Some of them are telling the truth, but half of them are lying to you. And that's only because they want more. Now, I don't blame him for wanting more, and I don't blame him for lying. I don't think he's a bad guy for lying. I'll tell you why, because you got to seize the chance that you have. Okay, when your country doesn't have a lot, and you're offered free food, free medical care, you take the chance. You lie. Why? Because then you'll be given more. It's fucking logical. Okay, so I don't blame the people that have barely nothing that live inside Gaza, pretty much like zoo animals. I'm not gonna lie to you, they do that. It's a significant thing, but you have to imagine that they lie because they realize that they can now get something for free that they previously maybe didn't have. And how many fucking hospitals are inside this Gaza? I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. The area is 45 kilometers long, about 45 square kilometers, and there's like fucking 10 hospitals. I live in a city bigger than that, and we have one hospital. It's a giant hospital, but we have, it doesn't matter. I feel like they built it in case, but yeah. New Israel airstrikes against northern Gaza. We've got some more Trey Inks for you right here. Yeah, but don't hate people when they seize the chance, because when you're living inside Gaza, which you are. Well, not you, but if you are taking the chance of getting something for free, which is something you don't have, don't blame them for doing that. It's the factor when they lie and give it to Hamas. That's what we should. That's what we should worry about. Okay.
You can see there the Israelis continue to target positions in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. You'll hear in a few seconds the explosions from these airstrikes that are taking place. Israel, while they support infantry troops that are operating on the ground, continues airstrikes and active artillery units along the border to ensure that they can hit the tunnel system beneath Gaza, where many of the militants from Hamas are popping out of and ambushing their forces.
There you have it right there. There's like some interesting news coming out of Hamas soldiers dressing up as IDF soldiers. Now I can't show you the video because in typical fashion of the Hamas, they act like they're IDF soldiers to start with. The people of the Arab Israel and these people who come out, they come out and they go, "Oh, I'm safe," and then all of a sudden, as soon as they come out, the guys that are actually in Hamas suits, they come behind and they threaten them with guns and they shoot them. Okay, but not immediately, because they will maybe sort of act, maybe they'll hide the Hamas soldiers. They'll come up with some more IDF-looking soldiers who aren't IDF soldiers. They'll ask, "Where's everybody at? Where's everybody at?" And they do that. There's no joke. There's videos of it, but we can't show any of the videos because, well, obvious reasons. You might want to imagine that when you're dealing with a terrorist, the videos you can actually show from them is very limited. So, but sorry, but you get it. So Palestinian authorities PM, so the Prime Minister, says that Israel can never reach its goal of destroying Hamas. Sorry about that. So getting this right away. As it is an idea, it's not only a military structure or organization. That's one thing you have to think about. When we thought we were defeating the Taliban, and truly we were, but we were defeating the senior members, the sort of first-time members. But, you never really, just in process of making 100 egg rolls. Well, that sounds a lot like egg rolls, and thank you for listening. But, you have to remember that, sorry, I'm going to correct the mic here. I think what the PM here is saying is that they're not just a military structure. They're an organization. That's true. They are not just a structure. They're not just a structure or an organization. They are an ideology. However, I still believe that with what the people see, what Israel is willing to do to get rid of Hamas, I don't think a lot of people is going to go out in the streets and go, "Oh, I'm part of Hamas." What we do have to worry about is the factor of these terrorist organizations becoming a lot more secret. I think that's one thing I've been thinking a lot about, is the factor of these terrorist organizations becoming a lot more secret. Because right now they're very open. Usually these terrorist organizations or these people right here, they're very open about what they do. They claim attacks. You know, like they claim 9/11. Many people would have maybe stayed silent. They wouldn't have said they claimed 9/11, but they still did it. You know, but it's debatable the factor if Osama bin Laden even did it. I think he was paid to say he did it, but you know, a lot of people claim that, but that's a conspiracy theory. I'm not going to go into that. You know, leave that at it. But I think what I'm worrying about, what I continue to worry about, is the factor of it becoming a more secret sort of organization, something where we may not be able to detect it on the surface level, where attacks may become less frequent but bigger. That's my biggest worry, because I think right now the attacks that we're seeing from terrorist organizations, they're quite small. They're smaller, they're not big. I worry, and that's the funny thing I worry about, is the factor of them becoming so stealth and operating in the dark. Now, these guys, they're not special ops, but they do have some experience in operating in places where we don't really see them. So, no, I know it's a kind of ridiculous notion, but I think it's true. So, you do have to worry in some times, but don't live in fear, of course. But I think we'll have to see what happens, right? A significant attack was launched today on U.S. forces at Al Assad Air Base in western Iraq by Iranian-backed militia. 86, welcome in. With at least 3 waves of rockets and drones said to have struck in and around the base. Damage to base facilities and casualties are currently unknown. I think they might have been known by now. I think 4 hours ago that I got that report there. So, yeah. So the U.S. yesterday launched some of their first attacks. Now, when the U.S. launches an attack, it's not some shady little drone attack where you say, oh, it's a fucking, oh, look at that, they're going to launch a little rocket against us. No, when the U.S. launches an attack, it's holy fucking shit, we're going to fucking die. That's when the U.S. launches the fucking attack, okay? So, yesterday, and we'll get to it, they conducted airstrikes. Now, the images of the area, I don't have any images of it because I'm not going to share that because I simply don't care. But, I mean, the factor is they got what they deserved. I mean, you continue to strike the U.S. The U.S. said, stop. You did it still. And then the U.S. said, well, we're going to bomb you back. That's only fair. And then people said, how dare they bomb them back? It's like, dude, how much of a fucking victim can you fucking play to the fact that you attacked horrendously against U.S. air bases who had done you nothing, right? Done nothing to you, done nothing towards you. Well, in the bigger term, obviously they have, but that's another point, right? But recently, I mean, they haven't really launched an attack against you. Well, we don't know, but it's a hard point. But factor is, you have to remember something when you're dealing with America, and it's they might not want to strike first. They might not want to go to war against you because they fear the consequences. No, not for themselves, but for you. You know, they fear the consequences for just how badly you're gonna be fucked up. That's how badly they fear about it. So, you know, sometimes I do like the stature because I think it's better for the U.S. to take on this sort of non-approachable approach. Because previously they've taken on this approach of where, you know, you launch a fucking needle at their country, they're going to attack you. I think it's a bit better the factor nowadays that they're not so gullible against attacking and throwing U.S. lives towards anything. But, you know, at this point I think it's pretty justified to go throw some bombs at some area when you've been attacked about 100 times. So, you know, I mean, they've probably done it a little bit before, but they were preparing for it, so. We believe it was done by a B-1 Launcher, which is a hell of a plane. It can carry out the biggest payload in the U.S. Army. So you can imagine when the U.S. plane flies over your area in an altitude where you can't even detect it with your limited range technology, or if you even have any technology, can't shoot it down. But these drop bombs, which you can't shoot down, you don't even any way of shooting that down, right? So these drop bombs drop from a B-1, you know, flying with the biggest payload in the whole goddamn U.S. Army. You know, it's gonna hurt. It's gotta hurt. You know, you're gonna have a lot of shrapnel flying around, and you know, a lot of house bricks and, well, body parts. So, you know, So you might see my title. There has been talks about the idea of a ceasefire, not a ceasefire in the sense that it's going to be a continuous ceasefire. No, a ceasefire that's going to be more of a day ceasefire. The reason why they're doing it, I have it right here. So, there is no ceasefire. There are tactical local pauses for humanitarian aid for Gaza civilians. These tactical pauses are limited in time and area. We are also providing humanitarian quarters for civilians in Gaza to temporarily move south to safer areas where they can receive humanitarian aid. Our war is not with Hamas. Sorry, that's not what I meant to say. Our war is with Hamas and not with the people of Gaza. That's what I meant to say. I was about to say, and the war is not with Hamas, it's against the people. But I was like, oh, imagine if the IDF put that out. That's one hell of a typo. That'd be a terrible mistake right there. But this is how daily life right now is for many of the people living in Gaza. And there's a lot of these extraditions of people walking out of the city right now. That, you look at a picture of that area, it's absolutely insane. But that's besides the point here. The ceasefire that is now conducted, it's only conducted during the day, and it's about I think it's, what would they say, like a 5 hours, maybe 4 hours, something in the hours, where they allow, this to happen. They allow them to move through, God damn it, with cover. So they're standing by with weapons and all kinds of things to make sure that the leaving of these people are safe. The reason why they're actually doing this, the reason why you may not see it's off camera, but there's a guy somewhere standing ready for Hamas, because Hamas will do that. Okay, Hamas will do that. They will go for the Hamas will do that. They will go and launch an attack while there are civilians walking there. And you tell me they won't, I tell you they will. Okay, so do you know how the Taliban disperses a crowd? If they need to move through somewhere, it's not a protest, which is very rare, but if there was ever a protest back in time or anywhere, it's at the start of the Taliban when they came and said, we're going to help your country, and then the people, then they started doing awful things, and the people said, well, we don't like this, we're going to protest against that, we went out. Well, you know what the Taliban said to that? You know what they did to that? They took an AK-47, they filled it up with a round, and you know what they did? They just into a crowd. They still do it this day. They got to move through. They just fire around into the crowd. That's gonna get them moving. I mean, I know. Us in the West, we may have some ethical choices to make sometimes when we disperse a crowd, but we don't take an M4 and start bursting it into a crowd just to disperse them. But apparently nowadays, people don't seem to think about that. They only seem to think about what happened yesterday. So, but it's funny because every time they talk about it, they go back in history. It's like every time they talk about Israel and they talk about this war, right? They always go like, oh, remember back in time? Yeah, I remember back in time, because back in time, what the Middle East was? It was the Middle East, and back in time was much more civilized. Afghanistan was a much more civilized country. When then, Taliban came along with their extremist ideologies and ruined everything. It fucked everything up. They go into war with fucking America, and all these extremist people with their extremist ideas because of their, well, I won't say stupid religion. I mean, the religion is not stupid, it's the people, okay? Not the religion that fucked it all up. But I think it's their form of religion. They have a different type of religion compared to the normal everyday person. They don't have the same. I believe so. I mean, that's my belief. I don't think they have the same sort of religion. So yeah. But yeah. DV, long time no see. Welcome. Massive artillery and airstrikes tonight on Hamas positions near the Indonesian medical center north of Gaza. According to IDF and Shin Bet, the Indonesian hospital is also used as a major command center by Hamas, with several tunnels and complex beneath the facility. And if you haven't seen my previous videos, I showed you that 2 days ago, where they show videos of how they have these tunnels underneath the hospital. They have a tunnel underneath the hospitals, and they're not only using. I'm good, Davey. So they're not only They're not only inside the hospital, which is what they used to command, because they realize that the only areas and the areas where the IDF may have some consensus of attacking is the hospital, but they still hide it there. Then they use rockets. Then they use rockets to fire at positions against the IDF underneath the hospital, inside the hospital. They have gun positions. You know, it's a completely ridiculous thing. And again, it goes back to the old saying that I did before. What do you do when you have a gun pointed at your face? Do you take the shot, or do you lay down and die? I take the shot. Just to make a point out here, but this happened today. As far as I'm concerned. Really insane. I mean, it was... There's no doubt in my mind here. This was very insane. You know? The thing about the IDF, you know, Israel, is that they have a tendency to go a bit above and over sometimes. Yeah. Oh, this is a continued video of it. Look at that. Hey, it's a lot. That was a lot right there. You pissed off the wrong people. That's what you did. You fucking idiots. It's all Hamas' fault right there. Now, I will say, I am not in all favors of bombing a hospital. I would never say that I am in favor of bombing a hospital. Obviously, I'm not. However, I am still in believing that when you are being fired upon, do you have one choice? You either fire back or you don't. You know, it's like an average, right? Nicholas, welcome in. I mean, there's probably going to be some consensus about that. There's probably going to be a lot of people who's mad about that, and we'll have to see about it. I don't have a personal opinion about it because when I look at it from a military perspective, when I look at it from a other point of view, a hospital can be rebuilt. You know, human lives can't. But that's one of my points in where I think, especially people who are doctors, nurses, people like that, educated people, which is like, they take a long time to take some time to replace that. Now, I'm not somebody who would say, replace that. It sounds pretty wrong to say, but it's true. Still, I don't know. It's a lot, right? Your dear President Biden today, for many of you who are American, if you are, stepped into the stage today, and he was wearing, I think it was some kind of Black Lives Matter or something. I'm not sure what his shirt was saying. If something along that line, or Biden, I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether that's important, but the fact is he was interrupted by pro-Palestinian protesters right here. So check it out.
He didn't own it. He ran an automobile agency for a long time.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, let it go. Let it, no.
Is that that's yeah.
No, let it. It's okay. Anyway.
We left Joe in the crunching time.
Look,
But
I guess what I'm trying to say to you is, I grew up in neighborhoods where I know what it likes when the plant closes down. I know what it likes when the plant closes down. Neighborhoods where I know what it likes when the plant closes down.
What?
I grew up in neighborhoods where I know what it likes when the plant closes down.
What?
I grew up in neighborhoods where I know what it likes when the plant closes down.
What? Okay, I'm sorry. I just didn't understand what he was saying in the end there. I'm trying to figure out something about a neighborhood shutting down or something like that, but I don't know. To be fair, he got distracted, so his mind popped off it for a second. It happens. A UAV? What's a UAV? Is that a, what's that? I've never heard about that. My protesting abilities here. The 252nd Division is conducting ground operations in Gaza, securing the area of Beit Hanun by eliminating terrorist subterranean tunnels, Hamas terrorist infrastructure. It is our duty to restore peace and security to our civilians. Commanding officer of the 252nd Reserve Division. There you have it. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff right there. Cool video here. So this is live footage. I'm sorry, not live footage. Recent footage from inside of the Gaza area. We'll point something out about these guys right here. If you notice, if you take a look at it and you listen very carefully. No, I don't work as a unit. We got. Okay. Right. So it's a union, right? Union jobs, right? Okay. Fair enough. Well, I didn't know what it works. So workers, right? Fair enough. If you notice something about the IDF forces, when you listen very closely, you can hear that little sound right there. That that's a drone. Now the IDF forces, the special, the forces that are conducting ground operations and all that kind of stuff, are always being watched, not by enemies but by friendlies. That's the difference between them and Russia, right? Now, granted, the Russian front is much larger than what the Gaza front is, and covering it by air is obviously easier to cover Gaza by air, and take a look at where enemy is and have a constant air and ground communication going. That's what you need in war. You need a constant air and communication ground, because in the air, when you're above the clouds, you're obviously not going to be above the clouds and you can't see anything. That's not my. But when you're near the clouds, right? And you're looking down, you can always warn the enemy. Oh, there's somebody over here. There's a heat signature over here. Watch out. There. But the Russians don't have that. Now, if you look at Russian pictures from the Russians driving in, you always wonder, what the fuck are they doing? Why they're just driving in? Why they're just doing that? Why they're just driving in without any consensus towards where anybody is? They can't see where anybody is because they don't have air operations. They don't know where they are. Okay, they're fighting like they did in World War II. Their tactics are World War II tactics: drive forward with a mechanized machine and try and see if you can overwhelm the enemy. That's the Russian tactics right there for you, but it's not going to work. But the factor is, they're just driving forward. If they had reconnaissance or any kinds of reconnaissance, if they ever could get something, right? They would have seen those Ukrainian positions with their artillery divisions fire range right at them, but they don't see that. They don't see the drones. They don't see the men flying around with the drones. They don't see any of that. The Ukrainians can ambush them from miles away because they can see them. They can detect them, They have infrared. They have everything. That's why the Ukrainians do so much better. Now, the other thing about the IDF is they have the exact same thing. The IDF and the Ukrainians, they operate in very similar ways, and sometimes, but the IDF, they're very good at what they're doing. That's, no doubt about that. Ukrainians are too, but working, having an effective working with air reconnaissance and on the ground is really an important thing, and that's what perfection has been done by the Ukrainians. The Russians, they haven't even perfected it. They haven't even started it. The first forces that went in, they had air reconnaissance, but now they don't. They can't afford it. They don't have air reconnaissance. They may have a few of them, but they simply aren't effective enough to help the Russians actually know where to drive and where not to drive. They're driving all the way into ambushes sometimes. It's incredibly stupid to look at. Now, that doesn't mean... The Russians are generally very stupid. But if they've had air reconnaissance, they wouldn't have driven into an ambush. So that's the Russians right there for you. Just... simply, they don't fit into the world of obviously their army's depleted, but they don't fit into the world of modern warfare. They never have, I swear to God, they never really have. Egypt has informed the United States of its rejection of Israel administration of Gaza Strip. So Egypt does not want a administration of Israel inside Gaza. I I couldn't, when I was reading that, come up with an idea as to why it would change anything for Egypt, and why that would be such a bad thing. But, you know, they obviously have their reasons. There may be consensus about things. There may be some kind of things. They may not think, they may not like the fact that Israel is controlling a country, or so, blah, 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 right? I mean, it could be anything, really. So, yeah. Israel gets massive weapons shipment, 123 cargo planes, and 7 ships deliver over 7,000 tons of arms and military gear so far. As noted earlier, Israel is preparing to fight a very large war. And the factor is, I've always said this, they're preparing to fight a large war. Now, what does that mean? It means they're not just planning on fighting in Gaza, okay? They're planning on fighting all over the Middle East. Not physically troops on the ground. I don't think so. But I think air defense, air time, shooting things down, blah blah blah. That's something they're definitely working at. But here you have it. I mean, this is them moving everything in. There you have it. That right there is just filled with ammunition and all kinds of things you need to fight a war with. All kinds of things. It's a massive operation, okay? And they continue to bring troops in. They continue to bring, all these trucks right here, round the clock right now, just working at getting everything going. They're spending around $300 million a day, they're saying. Well, I guess maybe 600 or something. I think it was 3 million, or 600 million or something like that. I think I have it somewhere. Oh, yeah, I have it right there. A weapons and ammunition production workshop plus a weapons storage facility is in a residential building in Gaza Strip, another civilian facility. When an entire city is turned into a big military base both above and below ground, it is no longer a civilian facility. You can put weapons production facilities in residential buildings. It is a war crime. So it's placing tunnels and missiles in hospitals, kindergarten, schools, mosques, those holy things. So it's fighting in civilian clothes without wearing military uniforms, with distinguished insignia. Using civilians as human shields. It is a grave war crime. So they're talking about all kinds of things that Hamas has been noted to be doing just in the past 43 days. It's been going on. Right? Yeah. No. 32 days. Right? It started the 7th. We're at the 9th. What you at? 42 days, right? Fighting? I think so. Yeah. Those aren't IDF things. Those are Hamas things. That right there, right? That's where they're conducting their arms production. It's like right next to a kindergarten. Now I don't know about if it's a war crime. However, firing from the position of that is, I don't know if producing it in such an area is seen as a war crime, but I think firing from a residential building is definitely a war crime. Or I don't know. It seems like a kind of weird thing because in World War II we did that all the time, right? I mean, everybody did that, so kind of, I don't know. But all the other things they've done is definitely war crimes. I mean, that's true. There's no denying that. No denying that. The Israeli Defense Force have stated that over 50,000 Palestinians have been evacuated from northern to the south of Gaza over the last 3 days, utilizing IDF protected evacuation routes, which prevent Hamas and Palestine Islamic Jihad from launching attack against the evacuees. Now, I said to that earlier as well because I read this and I wanted to point it out to you. That's exactly what the Taliban does, and that's exactly what Hamas does. They fire into crowds, and they will attack evacuees because they realize the more to move out of there, the less they have men they have to fight, the less they have blah blah blah, right? The less they have of human shields, you know, everything, right? So that's also happening there, and that's directly from the I think Israeli defense minister right there. Syrian state media is reporting that several members of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran are dead and injured following U.S. airstrikes on arms facilities and near the city of Deir ez-Zor in northeastern Syria. So that was also part of the areas in where they took place. And we will get to that in a second there when we will get to where they actually shot at that. The Bank of Israel estimated the wars costing the economy around $600 million a week. And that's dollars, $600 million a week. Israel, they're quite a rich country. I didn't want to say it like that, but they are Jews. I mean, I'm not, it sounds wrong when you're saying it, but when they're notoriously known for making money. I mean, they're notoriously known for having ways with money, right? I mean, I don't think that's a real thing to say. I think that's a good thing to say. They're smart people, right? And we always rely on them. And make fun of them on the TVs, right? And all that. But when you really think about it, they are people with the money, or many times they have some kind of business going or something. It's kind of credible, but I mean, that might be racist, but I don't know. But that's it for the Israeli news right here. We'll probably get to you, give you that more, but I mean, other than the fact that was the headlines from today, I mean, they're continuing to moving. They're continuing to move into the positions and where the Hamas is. They're continuing to take out more and more Hamas leaders. Other than that, I mean, I could tell you to continue to sit here and show you videos of them taking things out, but many videos I can't show, and well, it would be pretty pointless, wouldn't it? So we'll move on to some Ukrainian and Russian news. The Russian hit a civilian ship during a day attack on the port in Odessa. The Russian army fired at a port with an anti-radar missile. Now point that out, right? An anti-radar missile, KH-51P, which is funny because that's, last time I checked, a ship isn't really a radar, so sorting the things that isn't used to shoot at it, but I guess a missile is a missile, right? The missile hit the superstructure of the civilian vessel flying the flag of Libya. Oh, sorry, not Libya, Liberia. Right, not Libya. Two different countries right there. Liberia. The captain, who is a citizen of Ukraine, well, he's not a captain, but I guess he's a captain. When you're a captain of a ship, you're a captain of a ship, right? Jesus Christ. Sorry about that, guys. It's an incredible amount of ads. So the captain, or the person controlling the ship, I guess it's a captain. Died during the attack. 3 crew members who are citizens of the Philippines were injured. I don't have any pictures of that, but we will get to see some pictures of that later when we will look at where I got the main news from. Flash, who will show us some video of it, and we will get to see some videos. Mainly, it is reported that Ukrainian citizen, I think they were picking up supplies that went through the grain corridor, and they attacked them because they were trying to hit the port. And it's just like unfortunate, right? But it's like, why are you even trying to attack a port? It's like that in itself is a war crime, I'd say. But whatever. It also says the vessel sustained significant damage. The Southern Defense Force of Ukraine stated. Russia is trying to buy back its military equipment due to losses in Ukraine. Moscow has been establishing the arms trade market for many years now. Russians are turning to old clients to buy back what they sold. The Wall Street Journal reports in particular the Russian Federation wants to buy engines from combat helicopters, which is previously supplied to Pakistan, Egypt, Belarus, and Brazil. The reason for this was large combat losses at the front. So they've actually said, right? They've actually acknowledged it. They've said to the people around the world now that they're desperate. They're desperate for anything. They're turning to allies, or old allies, or people that they've sold weapons to, probably India as well, I'd imagine, to buy things back. Go ahead, guys. Because I seriously doubt that anything they're going to buy from those countries are anything short but fucking shit, okay? Not because they maybe first of all, it's Russian, right? And Russian have a tendency to not really be that great of quality. But second off, because I doubt these people are going to spend much money on actually upkeeping this. But that's just my point of view. They could have done, but I don't know. We have a video here, quite a cool one. I called it Daddy, and the reason why I called it that is there's nothing wrong. There's nothing about it here, but this is a really kind of video here just to bring you into the idea of the everyday sacrifices these people make for us. So check it out.
Tata є.
An incredible sacrifice for the safety of what I sit here and enjoy, what you sit here and enjoy. Many of you who enjoy the safety, enjoy the freedom of what we have. At least I say I have freedom, and I very much believe in that. It's only because they fight on. They fight not only for themselves, but they fight for everyone else. You know. So, there you have it. At the past 24 hours, 1,080 Russian personnel, 15 tanks, 18 armored vehicles, and 39 artillery systems has been neutralized. And we've had the official numbers later, but the Russian has really been hammered throughout the last 24 hours here. We believe that it was because of a recent attack in the Navika direction, which was once again repelled by the Ukrainians. The Russian passing through a demolished village on a suicide march towards Anavika. They passed the remnants of previous failed assaults. At this video right here, right? I thought it was one I want to show you here. These are Russians passing through a town towards Anavika, trying to say to everything, "Oh well, we're gonna attack the Ukrainians. We're gonna make a great thing." Oh, that's one. Oh, it doesn't. Why's that one destroyed? Well, why? Everybody, they told us they already took Ukraine. Why is that one destroyed then? Why hadn't they moved it yet? What's happening? Oh, what's that over there? Why is that one there? They told me that one made it. No, they didn't. Well, that crew over there was supposed to have already been in Anavika. They lied to us? Yeah, they did, buddy. They did. They lied to you. You know. Look at that truck, by the way. Look at that truck. That truck right there, I believe, looks... Look at how old that truck looks. That certainly looks... Is that one of those 1930 trucks? A 1940 trucks. It definitely looks very like an old truck right there. Bravo, Ukraine. There you have it. You know, it's surreal to me that they're filming this, and the reason why I say it's surreal is because when just the sheer thought of what they're walking into, they haven't realized that yet. You know, they haven't heard about. I mean, they may have heard about huge combat losses in the region, but they haven't really. They don't know exactly. You know, they're probably not told what exactly has happened. You're looking at them and you think they've been told, but they probably haven't. They've probably been told some kind of scaled down version of what actually happened. The only realization is when they actually drive in there and they realize, holy shit, A drone could come out of anywhere. You don't know. Now, granted, these guys does appear to have some kind of special equipment. They do appear to have some kind of equipment that actually looks relatively modern. This might also be the only brigade that's allowed to film, because they actually look modern. Or they had a lot of money before they came around. They may have bought them. Look at the shoes he's wearing, though. Look at the shoes he's wearing. Oh my. Look at that. Isn't that military shoes right there? That's just everyday normal shoes running around. And some of those guys had some military shoes on. But the fact remains the same, right? It is incredible. Russian high-ranking officers were eliminated as a result of HIMARS strikes on occupied Saktusk in the Kherson region. Radio Svoboda, with reference to Russian and Ukrainian sources. Several high-ranking officers, so not just one, several high-ranking officers were killed in a strike in temporarily occupied, so Skatuvsk. So there's two different reports there. Bringing to you the same right there. We had HIMARS attacks again this time here. I think it was throughout the night. Several high-ranking officers, which when they say high-ranking, it's probably like some dude who joined like a month ago. He's already a brigadier general or something like that. The tables look not that stupid, unlike the faces of Putin's in entourage, especially Peskov, Kazakhstan. President Tovkaviev, during the meeting with Putin, started speaking Kazakhs, I think is how you say it, leaving the entire Russian delegation bewildered. Sorry, I don't read those words right there. You have it here. So Russian had a meeting with the what is he? Well, I said just say the Kazakhstan president, right? The Kazakhstan president here. Not Kadyrov, no. But he started speaking Kazakhstan. Putin picked up his earpiece. I think people were surprised that he wasn't just going to talk Russian, you know.
Проходит в преддверии 10-й годовщины договора о добрососедстве и союзничестве в 21 веке.
People were surprised and probably so bewildered that he had the audacity not to talk to him not to talk to them in Russian. that he talked his own language. Oh my God. Oh. Sorry about that. I think we're back. Yeah, we're back. Good. Oh, shit. Sorry about that. Just gonna try and relaunch that. Well, sorry about that. We have a sort of a special video here for you. A video I've been waiting to see for a very long time. It's 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and you know what it shows? It shows the goddamn Ukrainians on the left bank of Kherson. The Ukrainians have crossed the Dnieper River. They are working in Kherson. We have got the official reports. We know they're there. Zelensky talked about it. Everybody is talking about it now. We had early reports earlier. They have probably been making beach landings in the sense that they were landing in areas that they could then, set up defenses so they could move over with bigger forces. They're still doing it. They're still conducting it. And here we have a 2-minute video here. We're going to watch this. I won't be speaking through it, but there we have it.
Бегом, все. Да. Не, минус. На ЗСК бежимо, Давай сюда мини. Давай, махнись. Пускай. Побігли, блядь. Давай. Обходь бетер, справа обходь бетер. Справа обходь, там де БК не горить. Давай, бігом.
There you have it. Further confirmation as well is happening later on, but I think it is quite the great thing to look at, to know that that is happening right there, and to know that they are there. It does mean that they are conducting things that is going to catch the enemy on their back hands, and I'm all for it, and I think everybody is. I think there's a lot have been waiting for this sort of operation, but of course it is not a easy task. Okay, it's not an easy task to drive across a river and well, get a beachhead and actually do something, and actually with, you know, resistance that is in form of the Russians. However, well, we all know how the Russians fight, but of course in these areas here where they were stationed, many of those have been stationed there for a little bit, and maybe it may even be some older Russian fighters. However, we believe that the reason why the Ukrainians have had such success with actually doing that, with actually conducting this operation, is because like how I say we, like it's me, I think. I think that the reason why they've had such success in conducting this operation was because the equipment that is in that area is probably been lessened by a lot. What I mean by that is when you have a front like Kherson, the left part of Kherson, where the Russians didn't really think the Ukrainians were going to go for it. It probably moved a lot of the equipment that was in that area towards the front, in where the most activity is occurring at the moment, which, if you hadn't noticed, is around the Bakhmut and Adivka, in the Zaporizhia and the Donetsk area, and not in Kherson. Therefore, they've moved a lot of forces away from that area, and it is quite under-defended, probably with some older equipment. I can imagine they probably wouldn't keep new equipment around there. There's flares in Gaza right now. Look out for some kind of, probably operating very close to that. It could be for the IDF forces operating there, but yeah. Further confirmation here. I'm going to read something. It's a little bit of, there's a lot of read, but it's a good read here. So, a Russian military blogger in panic about the situation on the left bank of the Kherson region. Our bank. The enemy does not abandon his intention to expand the bridgehead at Krinik north of Podestefny and Peshhan, I think how to say it. We like Ramanov also received information about the expansion of the zone of control of the Ukrainian armed forces to the south from the village of Krynik into the tree lines. This information is confirmed from the ground, and the military command will look into the reason. An important new element was the use of Ukrainian armed forces helicopters in Krynik area, which while operation in the area of our bank fired unguided missiles and flew back. Similarly, daring tactics of the Ukrainian armed forces were previously noted at Robotany. The enemy used helicopters at extremely low altitude to attack our positions. In general, the situation directly indicates the enemy's transition to the second phase of the operation plan to cross the Dnieper. The Dnieper, they call it the Dnieper. The Dnipro, right? And I think he's right. Did I just say Russian military blockade is right? I don't know. Maybe a broken clock, a very broken clock, is maybe right once or twice a day, right? Russian airlines, and so here's some more news of Russians falling apart here. The Russian airlines asked not to scrape all airplanes. There's nothing to replace them with. The regional Russian airlines have about 100 AN-24 and AN-26 passengers airplanes. Their average age is 50. Representatives of the companies have called for extending the technical life of such airplanes because there's nothing to replace them with. According to the Russian authorities, planned by 2030, a quarter of domestically...
Jeg synes, det er vigtigt, at man spiser varieret.
Come on.
Og her har du mulighed for at prøve en masse.
Produced passenger airplanes should be written off, but in reality, this should have happened by 2028. It is also reported that there are problems with maintenance of an A2 airplane, as well as engines for them are being produced in Poland. But they can't import that, so that's going to be a problem. So it appears to me that the longer this war goes on, which it is, the Russians will have trouble flying around in their airplanes, which means that it could shorten in a term in 2025, which is they plan to fight this out to 2025. It does mean that, well, the shortage of this war could become very short. Where's El Diablo? Well, he's not here today. He's not popping up today, apparently. Luckily enough. So, some news came out from Russia here today. Well, I hate it a lot, but it's here to have it. Russia is ready for negotiations with Ukraine, but in recent months there hasn't been even a hint from the Ukrainian side for new contact with the Russian Federation, Yuri Yezhkov, Putin's assistant. They want to negotiate. The Russians continue to say to everybody, "Oh, we want to negotiate. We want to do all kinds of things." And I'm like, who the fuck gives a shit if you want to negotiate? Okay, Ukraine doesn't want to negotiate, and then people are like, "How dare you not want to negotiate? How dare you not?" It's like, what is your fucking problem, dude? Because first of all, last time I checked, we don't fucking negotiate. Okay, the United States of America don't negotiate with terrorists. Now, I'm not from the United States. I'm not even from that region. No, I'm an European. But my statement is, in Europe, we don't negotiate with terrorists. So I thought. Apparently, the latest deals of the European, the way that we have turned to is, well, we may want to negotiate with terrorists once in a while if it serves our precious little lives and our precious little comforting of our reality. You know, wake the fuck up, right? Well, it's not going to be comfortable anymore, okay? And I'll tell you what. If I was anything of an authority in Denmark, I wouldn't tell them all, we are not negotiating with a terrorist. Putin is a terrorist. We're not negotiating with tyrants. We negotiated with Hitler. And look where that got us, right? There's nothing to negotiate. Right? It's right. There's nothing to negotiate. But I think if I was to negotiate, I think my only plan for him would to be, here's my plan. Why don't you pack up your shit, right? Every shit. So not only in your occupied territories that you call your occupied territories, right? Also Crimea. And also Georgia. And you got to give back parts of Finland and parts of of the Baltic states. That would be my negotiation plan. I would have no other negotiation plan. I'll tell you what, my only negotiation plan would be to say to Russia, you have to give back every occupied territory you've taken since the founding of the Russian Federation. And that includes Georgia. That includes some parts of the Baltics, some parts of Russia, some parts of Finland. But that was doing the USSR. Now, do I believe that it's important to take back parts of Finland? Maybe these people don't want to be part of Finland. That's true. Maybe that isn't so important, but I do definitely believe that there's many parts and areas of where people live in Georgia where I believe they should have that territory back. So, in my whole idea, I say you leave the Eastern Europe, you leave Moldova as well. Get the fuck out of Moldova. You know, everywhere, every occupation zone that you have, leave. And he's gonna say, well, what do I get in return? Say, well, we could maybe talk about lifting some sanctions. He's going to say, oh, great, what sanctions? So I can rebuild my military? No, I was more thinking about maybe lifting some, you know, you got sanctions on honey. You know, I got a lot of sanctions on honey. Honey's not cheap, you know, so I'll lift some sanctions on honey, you know. That I'd go for. I wouldn't go for negotiating with a tyrant or a terrorist, you know. They can negotiate their way out of Ukraine. Yeah, that they can do, and that they should do. A German company specializing in remote demining systems, GSC, has opened a facility for serving and repairing equipment in Ukraine. So, a specializing in remote demining system. So, there's a demining system, which is good for Ukraine because Ukraine has if you didn't know, has a big demining problem. They have to demine a lot of square kilometers because the Russians, they planted a lot of mines. And now a company from Germany has actually put down a factory in Ukraine to build and to, maybe not to construct, but at least to repair demining equipment if anything was to happen, which is a good thing because then you can continue to go on with these great demining equipment. I have more later on that as well. I think I want to point something out here. Maybe, just maybe, we should stop hating on Germany. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate Scholz. I hate Scholz. It's like, don't you think that running around saying you hate Scholz is going to make the whole thing a little bit less, you know, they make him a little less willing to continue? Because the factor is, Ukraine has received a lot from Germany. Germany is one of the biggest partners, and they're also one of the countries that actually are willing to open up companies within the parts of Ukraine to do stuff like that. Now, granted, they have not been given their Tyrus missiles, but I think Ukraine needs to shut the fuck up about those goddamn Tyrus missiles. They keep saying, "Oh, okay, we have these." Listen, okay, there are other options. Don't fuck up now. Okay, I'm just saying, don't fuck up now. Okay, you know me, I'm pro-Ukrainian, of course. But, you know, like, stop acting like Tyrus missiles is going to help you win your war. You know, it's like, ask for the things that you can have. Just ask for that. Stop fucking begging for those Tyrus missiles. So stupid. Because the factor is, you should ask them if they could help you develop a Tyrus missiles. Maybe not develop it, but develop air defense systems. Develop them together. Develop things that you can use to protect your skies instead of always complaining about the fact that, oh, we don't have our Tyrus missiles. Well, we know that. Okay? There are other ways to fight a war than always begging about a fucking missile. Okay, I'm sorry, but I have to get that out because I'm sick and tired of it. You know, I'm really sick and tired of that whole complaining about what Germany does and all that stuff. I'm really sick and tired because all the complaining is coming from countries that have given barely anything, right? Which is like, some countries are complaining to the fact, you know, it's a lot of on Twitter people like, they haven't given the Tyrus missiles. They don't understand what a Tyrus missile does. They just say, Germany won't give Tyrus missiles. That's the only thing they listen to, right? They don't look at other things. They don't look at the other things that they've been given. They only listen to one sentence. They jump on that trend because then they can get a lot of likes and attention, right? So it's absolutely ridiculous. And you could, in fact, win a war without having all those fucking Tyrus missiles, okay? So I think they really need to, you know, stop being so pushy about those Tyrus missiles. Zelensky isn't. I mean, I have not heard him talk about that. I've heard his defense minister. I've heard his economic minister or something like that, foreign minister. But it's, yeah, you know, it's ridiculous. A professor of Ukrainian history department at Howard University, Serhiy Polky, I think, took part in a fundraiser for the Safe Skies System. Professor of leading American university Timothy Snyder, Francis Fukuyama, and Roy Finnan or something like that, Finnan, are already raising funds to buy this system. So they call it a Safe Sky System. It's an air defense system that they want to buy. Apparently, but check this video out here. Pretty cool.
Hello, my name is Serhiy Polky, and it is my honor to join my colleague and friend Timothy Snyder in helping to collect funds for the Safe Skies sensor system that can help protect Ukrainian cities, towns and villages from the terrorist attacks coming from the Russian Federation. This Safe Sky sensor system can detect targets on very low altitudes. It can also anticipate where the next attack can come from. By doing that, it helps to protect civilians in this most horrible and most brutal war since 1945, since the end of World War II. Thank you very much for your support.
There you have it. And that is something you want to help out about. I 100% believe that. Ukrainian soldiers shut down 3 UAVs in 1 day. The press service of Ukrainian air defense report 2 super camps and 1 Sala were shot down. Got videos of it as well. I love it. Want to see some videos? I do. Oh, that's gotta hurt. I do sometimes wonder. What I wonder sometimes is why they use such big systems to take down such small things. Now I may not understand exactly what it is, but I just had that understanding that maybe sometime in the future we would maybe build things that didn't require you to buy a $300,000 missile to shoot down a thing that's smaller than a fucking pin needle. Well, you know, I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying it seems a little bit of an expensive process. I mean, I just thought maybe there's other things that you could do about it. It works, and I'm happy about it because that means that there's less drones falling on people's head. But it's also like, you know, I don't know. I thought maybe there's some kind of small system, but I guess when you're shooting things down, what you need is a good guided missile. So, I'm not hating on it. I love seeing it. The White Wolf team, I think the White Wolf unit, have become the biggest, the best of the Ukrainian army when it comes to shooting down things. Apparently, they've shot down more drones than any other unit. Well, praise to them. The Ukrainian defenders destroy newest Russian air defense system. Olenska Teransky, commander of the Traviva Operational Strategic Group, has said that the defenders destroyed the Russian cutting S-300 V4 air defense system. So, here you have it. That an S-300 V4 air defense system, which is one of the Russia's newest air defense systems, have been killed today. I'd say destroyed. And Ukraine did it, and we're very happy about that. So that means less air defense for the Russians and more rockets falling over the skies than the Russian soldiers. There you have it. Russian drone recorded the moment of detonation of the Russian TOS A-1 Solinspik after the arrival of the Ukrainian FPV drone and the Advika direction. So I believe this also happened today or somewhere along today, probably. But it was a really huge explosion. So check it out. Boom. Now that video right there, I don't really keep talking about it being a new video. It's not a new video. I want to show it again. I've showed it before. People kept saying it was a new video. I've showed the video before. I mean, this thing right here happened some time ago. People said it was a new video. It's not. But, yeah, that's also sometimes a lot of people nowadays, they're replaying videos. I don't like it. The fact is, I wanted to show the big explosion because I love the explosion. It was such a huge explosion when it really happened. You know, that's why it looks like, and I wanted to show it. Boom, that. Boom, right? But I also wanted to talk about it. There's a lot of people nowadays that are reporting and reposting videos, and then they're saying the Ukrainians continue to destroy, you know, the Russians. And I get that they are, but then they keep replaying videos of all things. It's like, you know, like you're showing me a video I've already seen of them destroying. Now I get the fact that you're saying to me that they're getting destroyed, but why not just try and see if you can find a new video instead of reposting it the same? We already know that happened. We already know that was destroyed. I guess sometimes things don't come out in time for them to get it on, you know? But it doesn't matter. Ukrainian intelligence confirms that 4th of November, long-range precision weapons struck a partisan identified hotel in occupied Skavadoshk. The building was being used as a HQ residence for seniors. Or not seniors, not retired. So, again, as talked about before, it's in the hotel, and they were actually using the hotel as a HQ. The Ukrainians found that out and struck it. Because that's what you do when you're Ukrainian. You kill things. The German government has delivered 7 Primoko 1 UAV to the armed forces of Ukraine. These high-endurance drones have intended for intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, ISV, ISR operations at the tactical level. One of the things that I hope to see flying over either Kherson or Crimea very soon. I'm just saying. But we're not here again, right? Swiss company Global Clearance Solutions opens a service center for mine clearing vehicles in Ukraine. The center, located in Kyiv, will provide support for this GCS-200 and the GCS-100 unmanned demining vehicle. A single GCS-200 can clear a football field side area in a day. And it looks like this. It's quite a machine. Very sleek looking machine as well. Now, we talked about it earlier. They've actually put up a demining company in Ukraine that helps repair these systems right here. It saves the human element. There's nobody in the thing itself. It drives itself, and it saves the human element from having to go inside it and actually try if anything happens, right? So it saved the human elements to get that out of the way. It's a drone operated. It looks like this, and it has this thing up top. Right? So it plows up the ground there. You can see it here. Plows up the ground. As soon as they get into it, they start and then they drive it forward. Disintegrates the ground, and when it finds one, it just says boop, and then it's gone. Got some cooler pictures of it here as well. I saw that right there. Like that. So there's also one that has sort of a chain system, where it's like a chain that spins around with some metal things on top of it. That's one right there. All kinds of different systems that it can have. A roller. I mean, this thing is, you know, this thing is a multi-level. Genius, and Ukrainians haven't, and they're using it, and I think that's amazing. So, and they also have facilities in Ukraine now, or at least are gonna have facilities in Ukraine where they can repair them. So demining of Ukraine is becoming a lot easier and a lot faster. Video from the scene of the shelling of the Bohatai. I don't know, that's probably not right. where 3 people died was published by the National Police. People tried to hide from enemy shelling in the basement, but died under the rubble. That's also some of the problem there. When the Russians, they strike the civilian buildings, when they strike it with really big shells or rockets, it makes the building drop. It's another way to say it. And, well, if you're stuck underneath a basement, you could be lucky for the roof over you not to fall, but that'd be a slim chance of not happening when you got a whole building falling over it. And then, well, you're not going to be chances are of you being dug out when the whole building is on top of you is quite hard. Odds are very low, and it takes a while to get all that way out. It takes a while to get all the big chunks and dirt out the way, so... and they were all the way down here. Chances are it's happened before. If they were reinforced, if it's a shelter, they could obviously get them out eventually. It's happened before. It happened in Mariupol. Yeah, there's no English translation. Sorry about that. He's just talking about what happened, I think. But it's some videos here. Typical Russian thing here, and the shells eventually enter the buildings. He said civilian right there. It must be a civilian. Fire stop break right there. No military target right there. It's all just...
На місце пригоди направлена слідчо-оперативну групу, направлені білі янголи, також на місце виїхали керівництво відділення поліції, керівництво Волноваського РВП. Ми проводили пошукові роботи.
You might not see it, but underneath all that could be very well, be a somebody hiding under that. We're not hiding, but stuck under that. It's absolutely terrible. Especially if you survive, it's a fate worse than death. It's such a horrifying thing if you survive, you stay injuries, you're stuck underneath rubble.
Вони вже були померлими. Ми обійшли усі будинки цього населеного пункту. Більше постраждалих місцевих мешканців не було.
Где он тут лежит? Вот он где. Как чувствуете, деда? Как чувствуете? Это полиция. Как чувствуешь себя?
Звертаюсь до всіх мешканців Волноваського району евакуюватися до більш безпечних регіонів України.
Thank you very much to that guy. All right. We work 24/7. The photo shows combat medics practicing first aid algorithms in the dark. It looks spectacular, but in reality, it's cold, hard, very responsible. Well, very responsible, right? But we are not complaining. Constant repetition of protocols will help save the life of fellow soldiers on the battlefield. This was reported by the Freedom Legion of Russia. They call themselves the Liberty of Russia Legion. They uploaded videos right here. This is training. This is, by the way, training. I don't believe that's a real soldier right there, or maybe, but this is combat training. I think a combat medic training for these soldiers right here. So yeah. So they uploaded this early here. Really some great pictures, quite cool pictures, I'd say. And they were actually the ones that invaded Russia not long ago. So, well, not completely, right? But they had an incursion into the Belgorod region, right? Where they had a little bit of a talk with some local people. Shot a lot of Russians. It was a great time. The Russian occupiers completely destroyed the Dashhailik something national park. It's a national park. Protected area. Ministry of Ecology. The entire protected area, 1,588 hectares, were destroyed. Habits listed in the Red Book of Ukraine and the European list were damaged, but I don't have that. Apparently not, but I don't know why. I'm sorry, I didn't think I forget that. But I got the picture. This is one of the areas here. Apparently they destroyed that. I think because the flooding that came. But I don't know. I mean, I think it used to be more. I don't know. But I mean, the reason why I brought it up is because I wanted to talk about it in general, because the Russians have actually, in general, they have destroyed a lot of the natural beauty about Ukraine. You see in the area around, people live near the Dnieper River, or sorry, not the near, but in Kherson region, in the Crimea region, all those areas where with a, like an acre, yeah, hectare, acre, I don't know. I don't even think I don't use both of them. I don't know. that I don't know. So, but not only natural beauty, because Ukraine is quite a beautiful country. It has always been quite a beautiful country. A lot of green areas. Not that that's been destroyed. I mean, it's war, right? And it does destroy, but it does grow back, and that's, you know, something we have to think about. But I can't wait one day to actually see the fully grown back Ukraine. I do hope. God damn it. You know, I do hope that hopefully in my lifetime I get to see the full restoration of Ukraine, but it's probably going to take a long time. I mean, I imagine I do. Under the Ukrainian flag, hopefully. Future can only tell, but I like to see that. At the Ukrainian-Polish border, this is a significant complication of truck traffic, as Polish border guards allow approximately 1 to 2 vehicles per hour. At the Krakowicz checkpoint, a queue of 510 trucks have already formed to enter Ukraine. Rava Ruska. There are 410 trucks also at Yagodin checkpoint. There is a queue of 810 vehicles. The State Border Guard Service says. So, sorry, that's a lot of words right there. It's a lot of words. Yeah, it's good to see that a mile away. You have it. So we got a video from it as well. These trucks right here. Now, I don't know why exactly they only let 1 or 2 through. But I think it's because the security checking that has to take place. Or it's the Polish that are being rude. I mean, I don't know why they're only letting 1 or 2 through. I feel like you could sort of pace that up a bit, but you know, maybe because there was some protesting taking place that did take place. I don't know exactly why it did take place, but as far as my understanding is that some Polish are afraid of the Ukrainian market taking over their market, making them lose money and all that blah 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 stuff. It's always about money, but yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that, but. I mean, it seems like a weird situation as to why you can only let 1 or 2 through per hour. Seems like to me that it seems like an executive decision that was made at the high table, if you get what I'm saying. So, I don't know, but certainly seems like that to me. The Ukrainian forces broke up 4 Russian assault on urban areas on the Vika. Russian forces are reported to remain in contact along the rail right of the west of Stepovov. A Russian assault directed at Pervomansk, something like that, was broken up by Ukrainian artillery and driven back. Ukrainians continue to hold the line. Gonna get on deep state map to show you that. UA Live. We're gonna make sure we get out to see that physically on there, but yeah. The Ukrainian military began training on the Hawk air defense system in Spain. Spain defense staff said. The Spanish defense staff said, but the Ukrainian military began to training on the Hawk air defense system in Spain. So that's another air defense system that's going to go to Ukraine and make the skies a little bit more clear. So good on that. We have here the latest numbers of losses of the Russian personnel here. 1,080 plus personnel and over 1,000 plus personnel in one day. We're almost at 310,000, which is insane to think about. 15 plus tanks, 18 plus armored combat vehicles, 36 artillery systems, multiple rocket launcher systems, air defense systems, 26 drones, 1 cruise missile, fuel and vehicles and fuel trucks, tanks, and special equipment. So, quite the intermittent today, and special equipment is one of the things we're happy to see go out. I'm very happy to hear about the 5 air defense systems, because, well, the Russians, they have a hard time replacing those. They have a lot, but they don't have that much. The Lionel Royer-Perret, a member of the French National Assembly, confirmed a supply of Aircraft MBATGMs during the hearings on the report of military support to Ukraine. I think you said it right here. $1,080 soldiers. Such an impressive system. Air, ground, naval, standstill, off-grid, all the things. I feel like what I don't get is the factor of how low the destruction level of it is. I mean, I get that it was destroyed, but I just feel like if you throw that big of a rocket into it, maybe the vehicle should have blown up. But I guess that, you know, that's just me thinking about that. But when you think about it, it's very precisionizing, you know? On pace for almost 300... Well, the Russians can sustain these losses for quite a while, Richie. That's the problem with the Russians. It takes a while to kill 1 million Russians. Yeah, I mean, they're at a level where I'd comfortably say that they could lose up towards almost 15,000 soldiers a month, or even this almost close to 20,000 soldiers. That's almost 20,000 soldiers a month. But looking at a Russian perspective, the Russians could throw manpower at that at quite a long time. That's the only advantage the Russians have against the Ukrainians in some areas, in where the fact that they have more men. I mean, the Ukrainians have to be a lot more careful where they throw their soldiers at, because they have limited materials and also limited range in the sense of soldiers and combat ready soldiers. Because the factor is, people keep saying to me, no, but they don't. They have 20 million soldiers. The logistics is that there are about 35 million. As of those 35 million, they say that 20 million of those are combat ready. Well, that's because they say that 20 million are men, I'd imagine, or off that age of where they're ready to fight. Those 20 million are, I don't think, is accounted for people that have asthma. People that have asthma cannot fight in a war because they can't run that far, and it's hard. They could not fight. Does that mean they can't operate and do other things? No, I don't think. I think they could certainly serve in the army, but they can't serve frontline because they can't run that car. They wouldn't make an effective soldier, so that rules them out. So you have people that are paralytic. You have people that they can't walk. You can't fight with people that can't walk. I mean, could they do other things? That's true again, but that won't be a frontline soldier. Everybody could do something, but then you have people who have disabilities. You have people that simply can't fight. You have people that are maybe overweight. You have people that can't. You have people that can't fight, right? So how big of a pool does the Ukrainians have when it comes to men? Realistically, the Ukrainians can mobilize 1 million men. They could stretch that to 2 million. I believe that losing 2 million Ukrainian soldiers would be a point in where even I would say to Zelensky that, buddy, you have to think about the future here. Because sustaining a loss of 2 million, which is where Ukraine can't simply sustain a loss of 2 million soldiers, that's not realistic. The Russians, on the other hand, could sustain a loss under 2 million soldiers. That's the problem. You know? The Russians plan to fight this out. They can sustain a loss of... The Russians, they think in a different way, which they don't think like we do, right? That whole moral thing about having sons and all that. Many do, and many are sad about losing their sons and their husbands and all that stuff. But many simply don't have a choice when it comes down to it, right? And sustaining a loss of 2 million men on a front line that isn't... You know, you can also put it towards another point, right? How many people lived in Germany? Germany lost about 3 million men, right? Or had at least at one point 3 million men mobilized. That's the maximum number. Because you also have to think about supplying an army on a long-term standard that continues to grow. You could realistically supply them to a 1 million man army, but that's where it stops. Then you have to have a lot more Western help, and if you want to supply an army continuously and you continue to lose these soldiers at a rate of that's not sustainable, well, then you can't continue to fight a fight. That's how it works, you know. So the problem that we have, the problem that not only Zelensky but a lot of the generals are talking about, is the factor that they can't continue to fight in the way that the Russians are fighting. However, the Russians are forcing them to fight in the way that they're fighting, because they continue to throw so many dead bodies. They're not dead bodies, but when they run towards a Ukrainian trench with barely any minimal amount of equipment, they're dead bodies already, because the Ukrainians will just shoot them out, right? God damn it.
Rejs med midtrafik og få mere ud af turen.
Compare people in 2,000 people as meat. Putin sees his people as meat. He sees them as political gain. And that's the problem with Putin. He has that capability. You know, he has that mental capability to do that. I don't think I could do that. And when we do say whatever the cost, right? But the British didn't lose millions of soldiers. They had a lot of soldiers mobilized, but they didn't lose millions, right? They may have lost 1 million. So they may have lost 1 million in the overall, when we talk about civilians and we talk about the overall scale of how many actually lost, but they didn't lose in the sense of 1 million soldiers on the front line, right? They didn't lose that. Sustaining such a loss, America could easily sustain a loss of 2 million soldiers. That could easily happen. That can be sustained, but Ukraine has what? How many men? As of a forum, they had in 2021, in 1993 or 1994, they had 51 million. 1993, 52 million. It's then dropped since then to 43 million. That was in 2021. We believe that number. So they say current population. The current population of Ukraine is 37 million. That's of course because of the amount of soldiers and people that have left the country. They do have a pool of a lot of soldiers, but you also have to think about the human level. Can you realistically throw 20 million soldiers at the front line or 2 million soldiers, right? It's like, can you realistically do that? I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, it's hard to really say. All I can say to you is, the Russians, the only area in where they're winning is the. Well, I wouldn't even say they're winning. I'd say the only area in where they have that sort of advantage towards other, points. What the fuck is that? Is that just a truck right there? What the hell is that? Oh, I thought it was. Oh, so just a truck. All right. So the only area in where they're winning, or realistically could win, is the population. But I mean, that's the point of view there. If all the men are gone, right, and you have to look at the level of like, not only men but women as well. If you don't equalize that out, there's a lot of men. If all the men are gone, because you have 37 million, how many out of those 37 million are men that are off the age of militarily capable of serving? I'd say it could be in the pool of maybe 5 million, 6 million. Could you realistically flow 6 million against a line like that? No, you can't. Right? You can't throw 6 million men at the front line and expect to say that's okay. Because not only are you losing your young population, that's another problem. You're losing some of the older population. You're losing people. You're losing, the whole young population. Because what I'm saying is, there may be, of those of-age men, you also have to think about people with disabilities. You have to think about all kinds of things. So it's not possible for there to be a pool of 20 million men they say are capable of actually fighting. Because there are not 20 million males and 17 million women. There are 20 million males, biologically. We're speaking biologically here. Sorry if I don't know all of them are male, right? Blah, 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 all that stuff right there. But right now I'm just speaking my own terms right here. Of those 20 million, in which they say are men, right? How many of those can actually fight, right? So look at that. In 2019, right? In 2019 they had 19 million men, right, in Ukraine. 19 million. So there's realistic, as I say, they have a group of that age, right? Residents of population of the general by age of group between the age of 15 to 64. How many is there? Right? 27 million. Or is that what I'm rating? No, can't be. How many? What? How did I read that? I don't think... So that was in 2019. That's their later study, right? If you look at that number and you say in 2019 they had 20 million almost men. In 2023, a lot of those men are moved out. How many men do they have left? They may have 15, 16. I'd say realistically 15, 16, 17.
Hello.
Around that point, right?
Kender du Pluto? En streamingtjeneste, der er helt gratis. Pluto TV er...
And then you take out the people that can't walk. You take out the people that are asthmatic. You take out the people that can't simply fight. You have maybe 10 million. I'd say realistically they have 10 million, and that's where I think I set the standpoint. But that's all, So Zelensky came out with a statement, and it adds on to what I'm saying here, is that Ukraine is still capable of battle achievements despite frustration. The president reassured audience of the route's next conference on November 8th that Ukraine is still on track to deliver military result by the end of the year. Yeah. And I think actively right now, it's about 700,000. I'm not sure how How does Ukraine So they say, during the martial law in Ukraine, men aged 18 and 16 may be mobilized and have no right to leave Ukraine. So that's another point, right? Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, it's true, you know? And that's the biggest problem for Ukraine. That is, how many men can they actually throw against a line? Because you can't rely, because then you say, well, you can just rely on the men that's back, right? But you can't. People that are paralytic, people that are, you know, then you're passing on genes of people that have disabilities. Now, I'm not here sitting here and saying that somebody who can't walk can't have kids. Of course they can. But I'm just also pointing out that having a healthy population of soldiers, I mean, I know it sounds wrong to say, but you have to think about the future of Ukraine as well, and the future population of Ukraine. You know, you can't, you know. So, there's not, you know, yeah. And it sounds wrong and all that, but you have to understand it, you know. So, a terror attack took place in Montreal, Canada. Unknown assailant fires a gun at two Jewish facilities, Yeshiva Gedaula and Talmud Tara Elementary School. The unknown assailants thought, you know what I do? You know what I gotta do? I gotta go out there in the street. I'm gonna pull out my gun. I'm gonna start firing at a hospital, and I'm gonna start firing at an elementary school, because that's gonna show those goddamn. That's gonna show those Jews. That's right, guys. No, you're fucking insane, Fred. What are you talking about, Fred? What are you gonna do? I'm gonna shoot at a school. What the fuck are you talking about, Fred? Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna call the police. You know? No, but it's ridiculous. Ransomware attack on the industrial and commercial bank of China has disrupted U.S. Treasury market. That's something I find funny, but you have it there for you. We're moving on to some United States news right here. Following a series of attacks against the U.S. persons in Iraq and Syria, U.S. Central Command, U.S. CENTCOM, forces conduct an airstrike against facilities in Syria used by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard, IRGC, and affiliated groups. We will take all necessary measures to defend our people against those who are responsible for the attacks and will respond at a time and place of our choosing. So there you have it. The U.S. strikes again. The U.S. surgeons performs world's first whole eye transplant. This is a huge deal. Kaya Washington, a professor of a surgery at University of Colorado, Anschutz Medical Camps, who has been working in the same field for 15 years, told AFP, condemning her peers. That was from Insider paper. She said that. I don't know if she did it, but there's a U.S. surgeon who performs the world's first eye transplant. Merck. It's a really huge deal. It's actually a huge deal because it means that you can do all kinds of things. Here is a video I thought was I want to, if I was American, I'd support this right here. The Congresswoman Claudia Tenney introduced an amendment to cut the salary of the White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre to $1. So this woman right here, right? The Congresswoman, she produced She came up to the stage and she said, you know what? I want to cut the despicable U.S. Press Secretary Jane Career Jane Pierre, or whatever her name is, to $1. Listen to it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to offer an amendment to reduce the salary of Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, to $1. Mr. Speaker, during Ms. Jean-Pierre's tenure as press secretary, she has repeatedly lied to the American people and acted in a condescending manner toward reporters and also violated the Hatch Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise
and you know what? It's true. Okay? She's not even my press secretary, but I have never, ever seen anyone more disrespectful, more condescending, more idiotic, more, less able to speak, moronic person that you could have chosen to be a fucking U.S. press secretary. I would have said yes to anybody but her. How the fuck did she get picked? How the fuck does Joe Biden justify picking her as a press secretary? She doesn't know how to do press secretary. She doesn't know how to do it. She doesn't know. Yeah, how she's bored. Yeah. But you know what I hate? I hate how she acts in a manner like she's better. That's what I hate. I hate how she acts like she is better than anybody else, that's what I hate. Sorry, this guy was zooming in on something up here. Something weird here. He's zooming in on some smoke over there. What's that? Isreal or something like that. I don't know what that is. Where's that? Oh, hallelujah. Wait. No, that's pretty good right there for you. Because that right there is... Because that right there is in Crimea. That right there is from Crimea. So if that's from Crimea, and there's a video of something burning in the background there... There's a video of something... I don't know why he turned the camera away, but there's something burning in Crimea. I'm not even kidding you. There's something burning somewhere in Crimea. It's all I got smoke come up there. Ooh. It's nowhere near the bridge, just to point that out. But it is located in an area in where we know there are not only Russian bases, but... Russian air defense systems also located, I believe, maybe also planes, I'm not aware, but I believe something is located there. I think I've heard about that. Alright. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Moving on to some Georgian news here. Russian media, according to the news based on the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Abkhazia, stated that a 7-person Georgian Special Forces personnel infiltrated the territory of Abkhazia, and local security forces are conducting searches. Oh, the big explosion back there in the region. Check it out. So we have this video, we have this image right here, right? And this right here is supposedly they were saying that some kind of infiltration of special forces, a 7 to 10 man force, took place. This comes after the Russians actually shot a Georgian man on the border area. So yeah, it's over here, and well, they supposedly conducted some kind of operation in there. I don't know what, but it could be interesting. Could be very interesting. I don't have anything more on it. So, we will move on to some Zelensky here in 4 minutes here, and we're also nearing the area where we're gonna get over to Deep State and Ukrainian Live, and then I don't have much more. Scroll through some Twitter, and yeah, there you go. So, Zelensky.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці, українки. Продовжуємо будувати наші відносини з усіма країнами глобального півдня. Україні потрібне розуміння в усіх частинах світу. Говорив сьогодні з президентом Індонезії. До речі, саме там була вперше представлена наша формула миру рік тому на саміті «двадцятки». Я поінформував зараз пана президента про досягнуті нами результати в залученні світової більшості до формули миру. Сподіваюсь, Індонезія стане частиною цієї глобальної роботи. Обговорили і питання глобальної продовольчої безпеки. Наші морські експортні коридори – це один з найбільших успіхів України – очищення нашого моря від російських військових кораблів. Це дає більше безпеки і не лише нам, а усьому світу. Я вдячний усім нашим воїнам, усім працівникам портів, кожному і кожній, хто допомагає, за те, що Чорне море залишається живим морем для глобальних відносин, а не зоною російського терору. Звичайно, тема страждань людей на Близькому Сході була однією з основних в нашій розмові з президентом Індонезії. Дуже важливо, щоб якнайбільше мирних людей були захищені і щоб з цієї війни, яка триває зараз на Близькому Сході, не почався повномасштабний обвал міжнародної стабільності. Безпека та мир потрібні усім. Говорив із паном президентом Парагваю. Увага України до Латинської Америки і Латинської Америки до нашої держави має лише збільшуватись. Це правильно, щоб країни Латинської Америки були залучені до вирішення глобальних справ, до захисту людських прав та суверенітету націй. Серед усього того, що ми обговорили сьогодні з президентом Парагваю, відзначу наші дипломатичні зусилля щодо формули миру, нашу спільну роботу на міжнародних майданчиках. Я вдячний за підтримку України. Хочу сьогодні також подякувати Азербайджану. Перед зимою, як ми домовлялися з паном президентом Алієвим, є відповідна допомога нашій енергетиці. Ми розуміємо, що цієї зими складнощі можуть бути не меншими, ніж торік. Ми готуємось. І підтримка України, наших людей, нашої енергетики є критично важливою. Ми працюємо із усіма партнерами заради систем ППО для України. Стараємось фактично щотижня додавати сили нашому повітряному щиту. І чим більше захищеним буде українське небо, українські міста, села, тим більше буде можливостей у наших людей для економічної активності, зокрема і для виробництв, в тому числі оборонних виробництв. Щоб не відбувалось у світі, Україна матиме свою силу, щоб захищати свій суверенітет. Сьогодні у мене були наради із главою уряду щодо поточних питань та потреб держави, із міністром закордонних справ щодо його зустрічі та розмов з партнерами, нових домовленостей, які можуть бути досягнуті. Провів нараду із ГУР. Є важливі результати роботи розвідки. Я дякую вам, хлопці. Продовжуємо евакуацію наших громадян з сектору Гази. На зараз вже 89 наших людей врятували. Ми працюємо далі. Дуже кропіткий та делікатний процес. Була сьогодні і доповідь Служби безпеки України щодо протидії колаборантам. Молодці, хлопці. Звичайно, фронт протягом дня на зв'язку з військовими. Найгарячіші напрямки за цю добу – Авдіївський, Мар'їнський, Куп'янський, Бахмутський. Вдячний усім нашим бригадам, кожному підрозділу за стійкість, за силу, за знищення окупантів. Південні напрямки. Хлопці, я вам дякую за вашу міцність, наша артилерія, наші ракетні війська та кожен, хто допомагає в спеціальних службах. Я дякую вам за влучність. Є результати, які надихають. буде більше. Слава Україні!
There will be more.
Бажаю здоров'я.
Mr. Zelensky, I commend the fact that you are goddamn sexy. No. Goddamn. Something about him. Something about him. Nah, that's weird. All right. Well, let's get on to deep state. I want to talk about some things there. I want to see if things are exactly as they are. So you haven't been on here for a little bit. Okay. Well, the Russians appear to continue to make smaller gains along the border here. Some smaller pushes in here along with the area around Andivika. Larger pushes up here. I was going to talk about that before. You know, these pushes that the Russians are making. Quite the large amount of pushes here. Now, I believe that, as well as you can probably see, what the Russians right now are trying to do is spread out as fast as possible, as quick as possible, and possibly connect these two areas here. For that to happen, they would have to take about, what's that, 7 villages, right, before they could do that. Don't believe they're going to do that. Don't believe they can do that. But it is insignificant gains. However, they are making gains. I can't discount that. Now, I don't know exactly, and I will be honest with you, I don't know exactly what's happening and why exactly it does appear that the Ukrainians are faulting on those things right there, or who's lying or who's not. I trust the Ukrainians. When the general staff comes out and says that they've held the line, I believe they've held the line. But I do believe that they're focusing a lot of their energy at the moment, focusing their large energy on getting, you know, around here. And you can already see, look at that. Look at that right there. We didn't see that, but we saw that coming yesterday. They've officially actually pushed back areas here. Now, this is one of the things that we wanted to see. Of course, you know, look at that, for example. That right there, what they pushed here in Kherson, is probably way more than what the Russians have pushed in the last, you know, year. Like this right here. And I think that's to make the point out here. I think they're pushing a lot of effort into, you know, they're putting a lot of effort into Kherson region at the moment. I think the Ukrainians are deliberately falling back and giving the Russians some successes up here. Now, when I say that, you might think he's crazy, but think about it. If the Ukrainians were to deliberately give them a ground now and then or there, and or you know, not maybe deliberately, but at least pull back sometimes and say, well, pull back over here, don't put too much fight over there, because they are focusing a lot of personnel, or at least a lot of equipment and resources getting over here. It could be a big thorn in the Russian side if the Ukrainians manage to get such a foothold in this area here. I believe what the best option for them to be doing here, especially, is to take this, first of all, take that railroad connection right there. Would certainly be their objective. I mean, it goes all the way out here. They're already pretty much in control of that. Second off, I think pushing directly in anywhere, really. I mean, their plan is probably to push in, either push out and or up like that and meet with these guys, or to push directly inwards and try and cut off a piece of land that could ensure that there could be more landings on Kherson. That could mean that, you know, they could have a lot of landings. I believe the most likely scenario for the Ukrainians, especially when you think about, you know, what's possible, is to simply cut this area here in half, you know, complete the takeout of this one right here, because these forces right here would not last very long without the main supply. You manage to cut that off there, they wouldn't last a week. Trust me, they wouldn't. I mean, their supplies, you know, Russians are day-to-day people at this point. So, you know, cut past there, cut in. You take that area right there. It would be seriously easy for anybody, really, to cut across here, to get some landings going and the Kherson really make a big line right here and start pushing them up. They would have to pull troops down. They would have to take places. It would be a complete nightmare for the Russians. I think Zelensky I think all the Russian personnel, Ukrainian personnel have seen that. I think that's what's happening. I hope that's what's happening. And I hope so. Seriously, I hope so. They've talked about, I saw a tweet earlier stating that there could be a possible event happening in Crimea. Special forces or special incursions by the Ukrainian special forces could be going into the area to try and conduct some kind of but an investigation? No. Some kind of incursion, right? And some kind of special operations to take out maybe air defense or radar systems or something like that. Stuff they've done before. And yeah. I 100% think so. That is a very likely possibility still to this day here. But I think we will watch some flash news here. And maybe we'll have some more after that. But for now, that will do. And yeah. So, enjoy.
Дома был, да?
Ні, я визволю.
На українсько-польському кордоні ми продовжуємо фіксувати ускладнення руху вантажного транспортного засобу. Зокрема, у напрямку в'їзд в Україну спостерігається ускладнення руху вантажівок на пункті пропуску Краківець, у пунктах пропуску.
She's not a reporter, right? But I want to point out that that's the exact problem with reporters nowadays. There's no fucking emotion anymore. That's why I like Trey Yingst, okay? He's good with it. But everybody else, they're so fucking shit at doing reporting nowadays. They sound like a fucking robot. Like, what are you sounding like a robot for? You know, come on.
Кора-Варуська та Ягодин, рух вантажного транспорту ускладений в обох напрямках. Виїзд у напрямку Польщі здійснюється виключно по електронній черзі.
У нас зараз проводиться процесуальна дія, я вас повідомляю, що у нас затримання за підозрою вчинення кримінального правопорушення, а саме за одержання на повідомлення.
Наявність виплати зовні схожі на грошові кошти номіналом, всі вони вбачаються $100.
Ставлю на голосування для прийняття в цілому з урахуванням висновку комітету з питань бюджету проект Закону України про Державний бюджет України на 2024 рік. І прошу голосувати. За 276. Рішення прийнято. Закон України про Державний бюджет України на 2024 рік прийнято. Дякуємо бюджетному комітету та Міністерству фінансів за вашу роботу.
Давайте, с Богом.
It's funny because I was researching. I was just looking in the background what those 1.7 trillion was in USD. I think it's about 400 billion or less than that probably. Maybe 400 billion or something like that. Could be. But you know, look at that. I just want to show you right there. You know, you go back in Ukraine like in 2003, right? That was a 1.7. You know, 1.5. 519. That was. What's that? Wait, it's gone up. But it had definitely some problems there. So it was 5 American dollars towards, or 3 point. So it's 36.05 to 1 American dollar, and then back in 2003 it was 5.19. That definitely changed a lot. Definitely did. I mean, it makes sense now, right? It makes sense now, but you know, it certainly it's had its problems throughout the days there. Well, can't change it all overnight, can you? It's all right. There's no doubting the factor that Ukraine has always been having its troubles, and it's been suffering from that, but it's turning its back around, and I think that's a good thing. The wagon, which it should hitch itself on, and which has the name of Russia, is being turned around, and it itself is turning itself around. It actually has seen economic growth throughout the last period. So I think, you know, looking at that perspective, I think you have to realize that. No, I think I'm gonna watch that. That was Danish TV. I don't like Danish TV. It's really Danish TV. That's really like that. That's where you get low at low point. At least for me, I really don't like Danish TV. Don't know. I mean, some I do like, but you know. Ukrainian soldiers film incendiary munition raining down in front of the location in Bakhmut. Shit. This was just filmed here. 14 minutes here ago, 15 minutes here ago, filmed a incendiary rounds falling on the heads over in Bakhmut. Russians are still firing these things off here. They well, they burn a hole in your skin, your bones, your body, kill you off. If you get covered by those, you're dead. There's no other way to put it, you know? Absolutely gone. Yeah. Not a big man right here, but this buddy right here, he's I've never seen anybody more unfit to be in presidency. Look at him. Man doesn't even have a fucking beard yet. I'm just saying, the man doesn't even have a fucking beard yet. I mean, you know, it probably looks like he can grow one. Well, you need puppy eyes right there. There's the difference. You have to look into their eyes. Who's a leader, who's not? I look into Jack Kennedy's eyes and I see a leader. I look into those eyes, you know what I see? In both of those. I see both of those eyes here. I don't see a fucking leader, I see an idiot. Now, less of an idiot I see right here. Because yeah, she's better. I mean, I kind of like her. I don't know what you guys do. I've heard it before talk. Maybe an idiot was an overstatement. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to say call an idiot. But I think she's less of an idiot than he is. Sorry, America. Sorry. She's less of an idiot than he is. I mean, Rick Ram, I mean, holy shit. That's a whole nother story. The factor is that you're playing the hands into Russian, you're playing the hand into China. Oh, I love it. And let me guess his next answer here is going to be, we have to make some kind of consensus on these bullshit policies. Oh, there you go, yeah. So let me get what she's going to go on about Ukraine and how she's going to avoid answering direct questions, but she appears to be quite the Ukrainian responser here. And there you have it. There you have it. Yeah, exactly. Okay. You see, now she not explicitly say that she's with them, but I feel like out of the way that she puts it, yes, she says she's with them, and I think she's right. Was I to pick a woman to president? Do I want to pick her? I think she has some potential. I really do think she has some potential. Oh yeah. Oh, I take it back. She's not an idiot. I take it back. I didn't. Oh, I take it back. She's not an idiot. She's correct. She's smart. Everybody else out there want to put some kind of point out there. By the way, I hope you don't elect this fat idiot over there. I mean, I'm sorry for calling him fat, but he is fucking fat. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, one of the people I hope you don't pick is any of these guys except her. I'd like to see her. Honestly. I think she has some potential. I really do. The way she speaks, sometimes she speaks, I think she has some potential. And I take my statement back. She's not an idiot. Right? You just expect it from most U.S. politicians nowadays, but I take it back. She's not an idiot. What she is she appears to be quite a smart one. and actually knows what he's talking about. Now, Rick Graham, I'd take my statement back. He's an idiot. Absolutely. There is nothing killer about him, and there is nothing leader about him. You pick him, you're not having America tomorrow. Trust me. Now notice, I'm not sitting here talking about it because of his skin color and all that. You know, you think here, right? I'm sitting here, I'm saying I want a woman for president. Yeah, I really do, because I think it's about fucking time. Now, I'm not a fucking some kind of feminist leader, you know, or anything like that, but I think it's about time that you maybe look at the consensus and pick someone else than a power-hungry man. I mean, let's be honest here, maybe, just maybe, about time. I don't know, but I think it's about, I don't know. Okay, sometimes I say things, sometimes I don't say things, but I think it's gonna do better. Okay, well, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for doing everything you did. I think we went through it all. I think I explained it to you. Hopefully I did. Hopefully we got through most of it, what I wanted to get through. Sorry if I didn't get exactly everything. I got most of the headlines that I found out today. Continuation of the, I think some kind of thing is exploded here in Crimea. We'll probably hear about that tomorrow. Some kind of continuation may be happening very soon here, but unless anything else.